Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live pop-up chat. Here I am, I've popped up. So welcome back. I really am hoping that you have been enjoying these live pop-up chats. I have been getting some really good feedback and comments within the comment section when I'm reading back. Sorry if I am not able to answer everybody, but I do, if I read them, I give them a thumbs up or a love heart. So you know that I've read them if I've given you either one of those things. I also love to read, of course, all of the comments in the live chat when I'm doing these. So I will be popping there to check. I'm wearing my beautiful shirt from Redbubble. I know lots of you ask, but we are going to get to the main topic of conversation, which is Harry and Meghan with the whole Frogmore move. I know you are probably Harry and Meghan Frogmored out. I know I am, with all the different rumours that have been going around, and some of it was true and some of it was false, and we've all been trying to kind of work out and find our way through this maze, this very complex maze, and trying to understand it. So, this is kind of like, I have 2 pages of notes to go through. It's not regurgitating the whole story, so it is very, very new. There are lots of new things. But the main focus, the one thing that I noticed, if you watched my weekly vlog yesterday, which I posted, there was a scene where I'm in my car and I've collected my grandmother's newspaper, and I noticed the headline, and I had a quick read of it, and I noticed that the media seems to have shifted their position and kind of admitted in a roundabout way, although of course they'll never say it, but they've kind of shifted in their wording and their focus, and they've kind of admitted that the tensions that were between the two brothers, William and Harry, are not there. I think they've kind of come to the conclusion now that that actually was incredibly ludicrous and people weren't buying it, and I think they're trying to change the course of direction, which we'll get to a little bit later, because they now have a new focus, which again I don't think is very fair. I won't say what it is until we get down a bit further, but the new focus I'm not really in agreement with, but you'll see why in a moment. So let's start. So the real reason why Harry and Meghan have moved to Frogmore. That's another angle that a lot of the media are going at. And also secret plans. Secret. Of course, it's a sensationalist word, and we'll get to what these secret plans are. There's a perfectly normal explanation for these secret plans, but we'll get there. Okay. And I wanted to look at some of the wording that have been used. So the one article that I'm basing this on was one on the Mail Online, and some of the language was very sensationalist. For example, they described Prince Harry as being an emboldened prince. And of course, this wording that's been bandied around, for example, Meghan gets what she wants. And a new one, the Goldfish Bowl of Kensington Palace. So we'll be looking at more about those in a bit. So, Frogmore Cottage. At the start of the article, they have been trying to make comparisons between Edward and Wallis, and of course Harry and Meghan. Now we know that Wallis Simpson was an American divorcee, and of course she married her prince that ultimately had to give up the throne. We know that obviously situations have changed, times moved on. Harry hasn't had to give up anything to marry Meghan, and of course they were bringing up again that at the Frogmore burial ground, which is not a million miles away from Frogmore Cottage, that is the burial place of Edward and Wallis. So again, lots of trying to sensationalise things have been going on. So beware about all of that. It is what it is. There's a burial ground kind of nearby. It's a royal burial ground. It's not visible. They aren't going to look out and see the graves of Edward and Wallis from their kitchen window. There's plenty of space in between. The entire Frogmore estate within Windsor is, I believe, 33 acres. There was another story going around that Harry and Meghan have been given 33 acres of private land. They haven't. 33 acres is the entire Frogmore estate within Windsor Great Park. So Harry and Meghan haven't been given the entire 33 acres. They will have, obviously, their own gardens within the grounds of their cottage. But I digress. Let's move on. So, again, they mentioned about this kind of separating of the brothers, the separating of courts and households. Ultimately, this is always going to happen anyway, because as soon as Prince William becomes the Prince of Wales, once Charles becomes king, he will need his own household anyway. I think marrying Meghan has kind of hastened it on a little bit. Although we do know that the households aren't kind of splitting yet. They are still going to be based at Kensington Palace. The official statement did make a point, I think. They totally made a point of saying that the offices were being based at Kensington Palace, which tells me that they aren't splitting yet. And I think Harry has also indicated, a source says, if it's to be believed, that he will be spending a lot of time, at the office. And of course, when they are in London, they may need somewhere to stay, especially if it's like a really late night engagement. Will they be keeping something on at Kensington Palace, or is it a complete move? Will they have maybe rooms available somewhere? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that whole thing kind of plans out. Now, the source, described as a well-placed source. Again, I don't know if it's true, but anyway, they described Meghan as being opinionated because of her age. Obviously, she's lived a life before she's come to this role, and her experience, and of course that she's American. And I think one difference between the British people and American, generally speaking, not entirely, I'm not speaking for everyone, but Americans are known for being a little bit more forward than what British are. I think British are known for being a bit more reserved. I think that's probably fair to say. I know that doesn't apply to everybody, but, Meghan does have that air about her. She's confident, and that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. So yes, she's been described as opinionated, as if it's a bad thing. They're trying to put out that she's opinionated, that Harry is emboldened. It's all this kind of language of trying to make them seem very headstrong and bolshy, if you like. And so that's the new kind of angle that they're getting at, because they've ditched the whole tension thing. Anyway, moving on. They've also, and this is the new angle that I think is completely fake, they are questioning the relationship between Catherine and Meghan. They've quoted as saying that they are simply very different people. Now that might be very, very true. They are very different people. They've come from different worlds, different countries. They've come into the royal family at different times. They've married two different brothers. So yes, they are very, very different. Meghan's come into this having had the experience, being the age she is, being American, and maybe they aren't going to be bosom buddies. They don't have to be. They don't have to be bosom buddies, but there certainly isn't any acrimony between them. There isn't any malice. There isn't any dislike, I don't think. I think they are just very, very different. Again, it's quoted as saying that there has been no falling out. Again, Harry being described as dictatorial. So it's all this very emotive language. They also said that Harry is very keen to move out. And the reason behind that, now they're saying, is not tensions. They switched to the fact that they're saying that Kensington Palace is a goldfish bowl. So it's to escape the goldfish bowl of Kensington Palace. Now we know that Kensington Palace is, it's in London. It's a fully open tourist attraction. Tourists can kind of wander by. William and Catherine do have their own private garden, and of course the Kensington Palace had to plant trees to kind of screen off a whole area of lawn. If the children do go out with their nanny or protection officer, there is a risk of being photographed and papped. So it fits that, Frogmore is incredibly more secluded. And also, let's not forget that in the early days of marriage, William and Catherine moved to Anmer, pretty much full time. Whilst they were renovating Kensington Palace before George started school, they spent the majority of their time at Anmer Hall in Norfolk. Nobody said a thing. Nobody thought anything of it. It was only when George started school that they actually returned to London and made that their permanent base. So, so yes, you know, it is, Frogmore is a much more ideal place. But whether, you know, escaping the Goldfish Bowl is a primary reason, again, we're not going to know entirely. There is still the issue of the Gloucesters floating around. They now claim, the article claims, that the Gloucesters have always been happy to move out in favour of Harry and Meghan. Again, don't know how true that is. But they're also claiming that the Gloucesters are actually moving in the new year, and they've actually named where they're moving to. They are moving to, if it's to be believed, Stables Cottage within Kensington Palace. And I think Stables Cottage is kind of close to Princess Eugenie's cottage, which is Ivy Cottage. I think it's on that kind of block where Nottingham Cottage, Ivy Cottage is, because there is a converted stable block. So I'm imagining that Stables House is along that area, I'd imagine. But again, we don't know if that's true. There hasn't been any official confirmation. Again, like I say, there's so much stories and news coming out of it. I think it's good to discuss it all, but I think it's good to have it all in one place, like this video, where you can know whether something has been officially announced or not. Let me know your comments and thoughts. So, going back to the whole tensions thing, they were saying previously that multiple housing options were available. However, they are now claiming that the decision to leave was actually made or decided following the Australian tour. Now, I'm not so sure about this, and I'm not sure about that because of timescales. Now, they've also claimed that building work has already begun on Frogmore Cottage. Now, if they decided that they were going to move after the Australian tour, they would not have had enough time to draw up plans with an architect, get them through the council and the planning application stage, and then start work. I know what it was like to get to the building stage, from the planning stage to the building stage, with my own cottage renovation. And it does not take just a matter of weeks. Let's put it that way. Even if it was fast-tracked, in fact, you know, there'd probably be uproar if they were fast-tracked. So I'm doubtful over the timescales. It's either that or work hasn't already begun. I don't think it can be both. But anyway, that's what they're saying, and that's my opinion as to why I don't think it's fake, about why I think it's fake. What's more likely is that they probably decided closer to around the wedding stage. That would have allowed plenty of time to come up with detailed plans. Let's not forget it's a listed building, which includes even more detail that they have to fulfill with a listed building renovation. That would give ample time to get the plans through and then start building work. So I think it was gifted closer to the wedding, and I think that decision was made closer to then. As we know, Kensington Palace is open to the public, like I've said. Another reason for turning down apartment 1, apparently, according to the source, is the renovation cost. I think Catherine and William's cost about £4.5 million. And also, Frogmore is in the Windsor security zone, which plays into the whole narrative of escaping the Goldfish Bowl. Also, William kind of has to have a London home. Once he's Prince of Wales, you know, he will need to have a London base. Harry, not so much. I do think it would be good to have a London base, but he doesn't need one in the same way that William needs one. 25-mile commute to Frogmore from London. I did an AA route finder check, and it said that it was 43 minutes to get from Kensington Palace to Frogmore House. I did Frogmore House because there wasn't cottage on the AA route finder. 43 minutes. That's with no traffic delays. So you're looking to an hour plus for a car commute between the two. But apparently they are happy to take that on. Um, Again, the article admits, so this is going back on the whole tensions thing, that the brothers are incredibly close. It's just that they've grown up, but there is no acrimony, and that's another quote. Okay, second page of notes. I'm doing well. I'll get to the questions in a moment. Okay. Now this again is something that I don't believe. I mean, who is this source? I'd love to know who the source is. But apparently Meghan has been described as an acquired taste, and perhaps not to Catherine's liking. I don't think so. We know that from the engagement interview, Meghan said how supportive Catherine was. So I think that's very doubtful. Yes, I can believe that they are very different people. I can believe that maybe they aren't like that. They don't need to be. But I certainly don't think that they would want to move out of Kensington Palace because of any tensions. I don't think there are any tensions. And I don't think Catherine would ever express would express anything about Meghan being an acquired taste. That is not the sort of language that I think she would ever use. Let me know your thoughts on that. Okay, so the article then goes into a second well-placed source. I really would like to know who it is. Who says that the royal lifestyle and constraints are taking a time for Meghan to get used to. It's a new life. She's married. She's joined the royal family. There are a whole load of things that happen within the royal family that she won't have been used to. That's normal. I don't think there's anything negative. They're just trying to put... Now that they've decided they can't do the whole tensions thing, they're trying to spin a whole load of different narratives. And certainly one of the narratives is that, you know, Meghan's difficult, Harry's now emboldened, Meghan gets what she wants. It's all this, and I'm just not so sure. Well, I am sure. I don't think that is true. So they've definitely downgraded the whole tensions thing. Now, it's also come out in the wash a little bit that Frogmore Cottage is not going to be 10 bedrooms. It's going to be 5 bedrooms. So there we go. It's not 10, it's 5. Like I said, they claim that work has already started. And the Crown Estates obviously own the cottage still, although it is within the Queen's gift to gift it, kind of like on long-term lease. And also, they were trying to get people stirred up about the cost of it to the taxpayer. Now, of course, it isn't a direct taxpayer cost. It's an indirect taxpayer cost. So because it is owned by the Crown Estates technically is owned by the Queen, but all of the profits on it go to the nation. The Queen retains a percentage of the profits annually, which is paid in arrears, and that is what she derives some of her income from. Now, it's not clear whether she is paying it from that percentage she receives, or whether it's coming separately from the Crown Estates, and then that will be deducted from the profits. We don't know. But anyway, the narrative was that they were trying to push and get people stirred up about the cost, just like they were doing for Eugenie's wedding, which I think is quite nasty, really. William and Catherine got the same treatment. It was exactly the same thing. The $4.5 million was paid for indirectly, I suppose, by the taxpayer. But any fixtures and fittings are, of course, paid for by Harry and Meghan. Furniture, decoration, kitchens, bathrooms, all that kind of thing will be, of course, paid for by Harry and Meghan. Like I said, the planning application has gone in. It's a Grade 2 listed building. Okay, like I said, there were security concerns, but I don't think there should be any security concerns about Frogmore. It's only open a few days of the year to the public, and that's Frogmore House, not the cottage, and a couple of select occasions in August. They will have, of course, their own security team, and it is within the Windsor security zone, so it's incredibly safe and perfect for raising a family. Let's have a look. Okay, like I said, the planning application said that, in fact, there was a special note on it saying that it contained sensitive information, which basically blanked out the floor plans and any really detailed details about the renovation. This was the same that happened for William and Catherine with their Animal Hall renovation. So this is where the media have got the secret plans, Harry and Meghan's secret plans. They aren't really secret plans. It's just sensitive information which has been screened from public view because of security. If they'd been made public, people would be saying, well, now people know the floor layout and all the rest of it. So I'm glad that it was kept as sensitive information. So I think secret should be ditched and it should be described as sensitive information. It does come under the Royal Borough of Windsor and Maidenhead, who have approved planning. And the planning which we do know has been approved is for the refit of the cottage. That's obviously changing it back from 5 staff accommodation into 1 dwelling. And the installation of 2 orangeries. Now, I made the mistake in my previous video because I was reading the comments and some people don't know what an orangery is. And I thought, I just assumed everybody would know what an orangery is. They're quite popular here in the UK. It's basically a half brick building with glass windows all the way around and possibly a flat roof with like a glass lantern in the middle to let the light in through the roof. So just Google, if you're not sure, just Google orangery. But they're getting 2 orangeries. There was also, I think, a studio accommodation, possibly a yoga studio, maybe that's where it's come from, with accommodation above. So it could be staff accommodation, it could be a granny flat for Doria, who knows? Will we ever know that? I really don't know. So I want to go now. I finished all my notes. I think I've got it all off my chest. And I think we need to go into the chat room. So let's have a look. And of course I want the live chat. Now, I've probably missed loads and loads and loads of your comments while I've been talking. So I'm kind of going to just read a selection of them. So, Simone says, "Hi Elliot, love your channel. Thank you for always keeping us updated with the truth. You are more than welcome." Miranda says, "Why would they need to keep a place in the city? Frogmore is 20 miles away. Can't they drive 20 minutes to get home?" Like I said, it's 43 minutes, and with traffic, it could be over an hour, depending. Olivia says she's leaving her best life, and they can't handle that, and throwing all stuff at her will never stick. Vicky P says, "I hope the Fab Four are smart enough to not let the media and fans separate them until they are stronger." EAO says traffic is crazy between Frogmore and London. Well, that is, of course, what I was concerned about. But hey, if they've said they can cope with it, then so be it. Let me just... Okay, Trace says, "Hi, hate London. I don't see where Americans being more forward. I am from the Midwestern state of Missouri and am in no way brash or forward." I am not saying everyone. I think there is a general perception about Americans being slightly more forward. And I think, when I visited London previously and you see, the way different nationalities interact, I think there is some degree of truth in that. Yale says, "Have I seen an old picture of Meghan in Malta?" Yes, I did. It's emerged. Not really enough to make a whole video on, but yes, I have seen that picture. Michael says, "According to some sources, they had been planning the move to the cottage for a long time before the wedding." They probably had a selection list, let's be fair. The royal family has so many properties that they could have chosen from. They would have had to have spent time going around them and choosing which one was best. They've said that Frogmore has, a special place for them. So, maybe they had lots of visits to Frogmore before. That kind of checks out. Matilde says, "It's starting to sound, as you describe, Kensington Palace is already too crowded and many permits and permissions." No, it's actually becoming less crowded because If it is true, and the Gloucesters move out of apartment 1 into Stables Cottage, there will be a massive vacant apartment. So it certainly isn't cramped. But what the narrative is that it's a goldfish bowl. It's they will get more seclusion and peace for the family. Obviously, at Frogmore, that's the angle that they're going at. Sorry if I'm skipping loads of comments. I am trying to kind of get down. Okay, yes, Harry is in Zambia. He went there today, but there hasn't been a lot come back to make a video on yet, so I might have to wait until tomorrow now for that one. Wendy says, the hateful trolls are worse than the media. I tried to object on another site that Frogmore Cottage was not a servant's cottage and was called a dumb twit. Your words, not mine. I mean, okay, it is currently used as 5 staff accommodation, but I wouldn't describe them. We don't describe them as servants nowadays. They, they work and they get paid a decent wage, and they have been given obviously staff accommodation. Pam G says, why on earth do many sad people like to make up stuff about the royal family? Do these sad people know what tension, irritation, frustration they must cause to the royal family, who are human beings? I don't think they care. That's the simple thing. I'm going to move this down a little bit. I just don't think they care. That's the whole thing. They just want clicks. Anita says, the Daily Mail said in an earlier article that Meghan and Catherine get together for tea at least once a week. I mean, again, that was something that I never truly believed. It's nice to think that that's what they do, but we don't know for sure if they do. And it doesn't matter if they don't. Yes, Vicky P, I think they are trying to make Catherine sound like an ice queen. That's the new narrative. Tension is gone, and now it's pitting royal against royal, and making out that Meghan's demanding and all the rest of it. Okay, yes, Meghan hasn't gone to Zambia, probably because of Zika risk, although it didn't stop her going to Tonga and all the other places in Australia, on the Australian tour that had Zika. I don't think Meghan was ever going to go on that tour. I don't believe that, but that's for another video. And yes, his relationship is priority. I think he has kind of expressed that before. Okay, sorry if I'm skipping. I've got a bit to catch up on. Countess Bavaria says, that's right, William and Catherine also had all the flack about moving into Anmar Hall. They did indeed. Okay, I think I'm down to the bottom of the comments. Margaret says, it seems to me that all these negative stories surrounding Meghan have to do with racism. It is heartbreaking indeed. And I hope it's not true, but, it is what it is. Okay, lots of talk about Zambia, but I will do that in another video. Jamie says, some sources saying Meghan is actually a reptile. Do you think this is why she is moving to the countryside to rest and bathe in the sun? No doubt, if she's reptile. I think, shall we all send many blessings Jamie's way? Okay. And that's kind of it. How are we for time? 28 minutes? It's nearly 30 minutes. Okay, I'll stay on until 30 minutes, so I'll take a few more questions. But it is interesting to see all of your thoughts and comments, and like I say, it's really good to have all the little loose ends in one video just to discuss it. It's kind of like it's kind of like when you've got so much going around in your head, you just need to do like a thought dump. A bit like Harry Potter with the pensieve. You can put your thoughts into one video. Do you get the Harry Potter reference with the pensieve? I don't know. Jamie says, be blessed, y'all. Many blessings to y'all. Many blessings coming your way. Sheila says, reptile, oh my god. Yes, I mean, there are a certain selection of people that believe the royal family are reptiles. There you go. How silly. I'm going to give reptiles a black fake news fan flap. There we go. Okay, Countess Bavaria says, this is a channel host who appears to be a reptile. I might be, in disguise. Jenny says, okay, I give in, we're more tacky, but there should be a little better we can put it. I don't know what the word is. I would use forward. I would say Americans are just generally a bit more forward. Yeah, I don't know. How else would you describe it? I don't know. I don't think it's bad. It's just different. It's just different to us. Direct. Okay, Americans are direct. Yes, that's another one. Direct. And you say it's your nature. It's part of the culture. Unless you are Southern, I would go with direct. And Louisa says, yes, we are more direct. Well, there you have it, more direct. Maybe that's what they mean about Meghan. Lady Buckingham says, reptile every time I hear that, I want to flick my tongue out. Oh no, that'll be a meme. Where do crazies come up with these stories? Get a life. Jamie wants a direct debit. Margaret says, the more Diana spoke her mind, the more they refer to her as being difficult. Again, it's that same narrative going on through the generations. Old says, hello Elliot, why are haters on your channel? I don't know. They creep around anything with Duchess Meghan. Nuts, I say nuts, these people are. The only nuts I want are on my walnut whips. EAO says, let me see your reptile ears. Do you want to see my reptile ears? Hang on. There, I'm a reptile. I can't believe I just did that. This is supposed to be a serious channel. Tracy says, thank you for the comment. Love your channel and the right of each person being able to voice their opinion. You are so great. You are more than welcome. Lots of people laughing. That was my reptile face. Floss and rock paint? No, I'm not doing the ears again. I'm not a reptile. So, all that's left. Oh, Margaret enjoyed my weekly vlog and wants more of them. Lots of people laughing at the reptile. Megan B says, looked like an Elizabethan collar. And Rodney says, too funny. Okay, I think we've made it to over 30 minutes now. So, I'm going to leave you all now with lots and lots of many reptile blessings coming your way. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big old thumbs up. Go on, it takes 2 seconds. I'll wait. Go and hit the thumbs up. How many's watching, by the way? 54, so I expect at least 54 thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media and hit the notification bell, because if and when YouTube decides it works, you will be notified when I do a live pop-up video or post any other kind of video. So from me, the reptile in Shropshire, many blessings to y'all.